This is the unfiltered feed. The unfiltered feed.
It's time to do the preview of yet another IPL team, and today we have got the Gujarat Titans. So, before we dive into it, let me ask Yash. They finished third last year, and do you think they are back on track? Because 2024 was a bit of a blip for them. So do you see them back on track, or was last year a bit of a fluke?
I think, surprisingly, I would say that last year was a fluke and they outperformed themselves. I think the three batters that you can see at the top, they really outperformed, and I think they scored nearly 70% of their runs last time. So I clearly don't see that happening again. But other than that, I was expecting a lot from them in the auction, but they seem to go with some strange buys. We'll talk more about that. But I don't see Gujarat repeating the success that they had last year.
Okay. I too agree with you, because they had a lot of reliance on their top three last year, and
Yeah.
it was well documented even before the season started that they will need the top three to do well, because when you've got someone like a Washington Sundar or Glenn Phillips to come at number 4, they did have Rutherford, but uh, it is going to be a tough task when that is your finishing. So they did well because of the top three, and this time around, if you go into the form, I think Shubman Gill was kind of dropped from the T20 team, and Sai Sudarshan, he was a bit out of form as well before getting injured, so he has been away from cricket for a while. And Josh Butler had a disastrous campaign at the T20 World Cup. So the top three that kind of were the shining light last season might actually be the reason why they struggled this time around. And as you mentioned, we did expect them to kind of look to strengthen their batting, but instead they traded out Sherfane Rutherford, who was probably in the form of his life, and didn't get anyone from MI, which was a bit strange, because naturally if you're doing just a all cash deal, it doesn't make sense, because you could rather get a player and weaken the opposition a bit, but that's not what they did. And in the auction as well, they got Tom Banton, who is decent, but I don't really see him delivering the way Butler delivered for them, and I only see him as a safe gap kind of a player. So do you think they would need something extra special, or maybe the kind of form the top three were in last year, maybe the rest of the batting needs to have that kind of a season for them to do well?
Yeah, I agree with you. If you looked at Gujarat Titans in their successful years, which was 2022 and 2023, the openers didn't really contribute much. It was mainly the middle order, where you had Hardik, David Miller, you had a Vijay Shankar in 2023, and then you had Tewatia and Rashid Khan doing well. That's what they miss in this team, and that's what they missed last time as well. They got lucky last time because of the top three, but I think this time you can't really expect that sort of consistency from someone like a Josh Butler. I think Gill and Sudarshan still will be quite good, but with Sudarshan, he's now had orange cap. I think last year he won that, so teams will obviously start, preparing for him and start exploring his weaknesses. And there will be days where he fails, so you definitely need someone else to step up. My eyes will be on a Glenn Phillips, because he's been on a decent run in the last few T20 matches that he's played in India. And like you said, Sundar, this is his best opportunity, because even in the Indian T20 side, Surya Kumar Yadav might eventually get replaced, because he's near the end of his career. And if Sundar actually plays as the number 4 batter in this side and does well, he could very well fit in the Indian side as a batting all-rounder. because that slot will open up. So this is a very important season for him. And personally, I'm a big fan of Sundar. I've always supported him since the RPS days in 2017. So it would be nice for him to, first of all, get a few matches and then for him to do well as well.
Yeah, I think Sundar has a lot of potential. He has shown glimpses of it. I think last year he played a couple of good knocks for them at number 4. One of them in the eliminator, which they lost.
Yeah.
And also, I think if you go a bit down the batting, you see a peculiar name, Shah Rukh Khan. I really feel it is time for him to deliver on the promise, because it's been way too long and he hasn't really broken through yet. So it is really important for him to have that kind of a big season, because he does get paid quite a lot, and I think 4 crores he was retained by the Titans. So he has to have a good season, because there aren't many options if that the Titans have for that role. So they seem to be trusting in him a lot, and I think it's his third season with them. So he needs to come good. And Rahul Tewatia, I know he doesn't have a lot left in the tank. He's kind of grown and kind of outgrown, and I don't see him making it into the Indian team at this stage of his career. But I would still like to see him turn up a bit, though it is very important for him to turn up for the Gujarat Titans. But even if he can do a couple of those magic Tewatia moments for them, I think it would go a long way. So that is the batting, and as we mentioned before, we don't see a lot of backups there, which is a big worry, because you've got 3 wicket keepers as your backups, Kumar Kushagra and Anuj Rawat. None of them kind of reliable as well. So they are a bit slim on that front, and they would need their main players to deliver yet again.
Yeah, I think this best 12 that you have written, I think this is how they're going to start for most matches. I have heard that this year there might be 16 league games, and if that's the case, and if Gujarat are doing well, they might replace Butler or Sai Sudarshan just for rest. But other than that, I think the batting order that you have mentioned is something that I agree with. I really hope that they play Glenn Phillips, because he's, I think, going to be an important player for them. He also gives you a bit of off spin, and he's a gun fielder as well. And I think one thing that Gujarat lack is that the top order is extremely strong, but then they miss that one player who can act as the bridge between the top and the finishers. If you look at any good T20 side, you've always got one player who can play a dual role, where if he's coming out in the 18th or 19th over, he can start striking from ball 1. But if he's coming out in the power play after 2 quick wickets, he can also pace the innings well and take some time and reduce the pressure. So they miss that player in this side, and I feel Glenn Phillips could be that option for them. So I hope they play him.
Yeah, and hope is a very apt word, because he hardly gets the nod from his IPL teams over the years. And even when it looks like this is the perfect setup for Glenn Phillips to fit into the 11, teams often find someone else who they think is better. And I'm afraid yet again, because there is a certain Tom Banton who has done decently well against spin, particularly in the World Cup. So you never know, if they think that they don't need the extra spin of Phillips, they might yet again think of benching him and playing someone else. So I hope they start with Phillips though, because he is a complete cricketer, and I think he has a lot of value to provide, especially if they can, maybe the top order does give them a good start, and he can slot in at number 4 and kind of take on the spin. So he's a very important player. So is Washington Sundar. And coming to their bowling, as we mentioned, the batting bailed them out. I would also go on to say that players like Prasidh Krishna and Sai Kishore having good seasons also was a bit unexpected, and it helped them, especially Sai Kishore, because I remember in 2024 he did make the 11 on most days, but hardly bowled a couple of overs each game. You never saw him getting the trust from the captain, and 2025 I think he did do really well. So yet again they have uh, two players who exceeded their expectations and kind of showed that everything is settled. But do you think this time around, if they don't manage to perform in the same way, the bowling attack can kind of handle itself?
Uh, in terms of spin, I think they are a bit under pressure. I think I've heard good things about Manav Sutar, so he could be a potential option. And I'm really hoping that Rashid Khan does better than last year, because I think last year he was coming off an injury, so he couldn't bowl a few deliveries or a specific length that he's good at. So I think this year that should be gone, so he should be much better, which is a good thing for them. But I think Gujarat, they have one of the best fast bowling attacks in the IPL, because if you look at the three lead bowlers that they have, Rabada, Siraj and Krishna, I think all of them, they can be the individual lead bowlers in other teams. It's that good of a bowling attack. And even the backups are not that bad. You've got Luke Wood, who has been playing some T20 cricket. I think he was also at the World Cup, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And then you have Jason Holder, who was also at the World Cup, and he did pretty well. And he also gives that extra batting. And Ishant Sharma obviously brings a lot of experience. So it's the pace attack I'm very happy with. With spin, I think you still don't know if you can rely on Manav Sutar or Jayant Yadav. So you'll hope that Sai Kishore comes off well.
Yeah, and I think Rashid Khan is a bit interesting because, as you mentioned, last year he came from an injury and he was struggling to maintain his lengths. Every 4 or 5 balls, he would drop one half tracker in between, and it was very uncharacteristic of him. And to be very honest, I didn't see that completely go away in the after the last IPL as well. So even a year out from his injury, he still has that issue, which is a bit concerning. I know he did do decently in the T20 World Cup, but those numbers are again inflated because of him playing against associate teams. So I would like to see how he goes. And if you remember at the start, he used to be an absolute bank, and if teams tried to hit him, he would get wickets. Otherwise, he would maybe concede close to 20-25 runs in 4 overs. And teams slowly started realizing that there's no point trying to hit him, and so they started playing him out, and slowly his wickets started diminishing, but he still was a bank and didn't concede more than 30 ever. But in the recent past, you've seen teams have found a way to not only play safely against him but also get runs. So that is a bit of a concern. How does he tackle that? And considering the pitches have been flatter than have ever been, I honestly am a bit worried for him, and I hope he has a good season, because a lot depends on him for this team to do well. He's kind of the fulcrum.
Yeah, I
And
agree. Sorry.
yeah, and talking about the pacers, I think Siraj and Prasidh Krishna are good, though none of them are complete reliable bowlers. If you understand that, they can on their day do really well, but their I would say their floor and ceiling are very far apart, and that is not ideal. And Kagiso Rabada, he is a good bowler, but in the last few years even he has fallen into the same bracket as Siraj and Prasidh. So I'm a bit miffed about that pace attack, and if reputation wasn't a thing in any in 9 out of 10 times I would have picked Jason Holder ahead of Rabada, considering the current form and the fact that he also gives you a bit of bowling, a bit of batting. I would definitely have gone with him, and to be honest, I can also see in a future scenario them dropping the foreigner at the top and replacing him with Jason Holder, because he can actually give you decent batting if they can rely on Washington Sundar at 4, and maybe Holder can do that job at 5 at times, or maybe Shah Rukh Khan can come up and Holder can come at 6. So that is also a strategy that they can go for, because if you remember in the World Cup, Jason Holder was batting really well. He is not someone like a Romario Shepherd who can't play more than 10 or 12 balls. He knows how to pace his innings. In fact, he has been known to be on the slower side at times, and he has upped his 6 hitting game only recently. So I would be interested to see how they use him.
Yeah, and also you have to remember that Gujarat are very famous to bring players who are not known to do well in the IPL, and then suddenly they just become superstars, like someone like David Miller or Rahul Tewatia. So Holder fits that bill because he hasn't been the most successful in the IPL. So if they can use him properly, then he might turn out to be the secret sauce.
Yeah, Gujarat Titans are one team that know how to maximize their resources, as you mentioned, and they kind of prefer having lesser resources so that there's no kind of a selection headache or whatever you want to call it. They want to just have a team and stay fixated and back the players, and I think the environment created by the management also goes a long way in helping them. So I think a couple of players to watch out for here. I know they won't get a lot of chances. I was impressed with Arshad Khan a couple of seasons back when he played for Lucknow Super Giants in 2024. I think he batted really well in a couple of games and does bowl good left arm mediums.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a part of MI before that. And Gurnur Brar is another very exciting bowler. He is in and around the India A setup for quite a while. He's a pacer. If Prasid has a terrible season, chances of which aren't zero, you might see Gurnur into action because he's a new ball bowler, can complement Siraj really well. So though this is the starting 12 and this is the bowling attack that they will probably start with, I won't be surprised if they end up with at least 2 of these being replaced by someone from the bench.
Yeah, the only issue with this fast bowling attack is that everybody is a right arm pacer. So it's a bit, I would say, monotonous. They may play someone like an Arshad Khan or Luke Wood who can swing the ball in the power play and do something similar to Trent Bolt. With Luke Wood, they may replace Rabada, but Arshad could replace someone like a Prasid. So imagine Arshad and Siraj doing, making the batters go mad in the power play.
Yeah, and also if they are content with Washington complementing Rashid, and maybe they believe that that's the only spin they need, they can maybe replace Sai Kishore. And if they have Phillips as well, might as well replace Sai Kishore with another batter to deepen their batting. So there are a lot of ways they can tweak this 11 or 12, but I think this is the 12 which they would consider to be the best and might start with this.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. You can replace Sai Kishore because you have Sundar already who can bowl 4 overs of spin. Coming back to Rashid Khan, I think this season is important not just for Gujarat Titans, Rashid's performance, but Rashid Khan as well will hope that he has a good season because I think he's the most expensive player in this side, worth 18 crores. And last year, I don't think his performance was worth that price tag. So if he delivers another poor season, there could be a few doubts about his future in the side. Because if you're going to spend 18 crores, you hope for at least a lot of wickets or a decent economy, which and I think he didn't do any of it last time. So it's a important season for him as a player as well.
Yeah, Rashid Khan, you don't associate him with mediocrity. He's someone who excels in everything that he does, be it batting, bowling, or fielding. And he's also been in and around the leadership group of this side for quite a while. So he is someone, he's kind of the face of this team, and they would hope that he can deliver. So it's a big season for him. So I think 7 games in Ahmedabad. The track is not too good for bowling at times. You have seen that in the final of the T20 World Cup. But if you remember in IPL, at the very start, maybe 23 and 24, you used to get some absolute roads in Ahmedabad. But some of the games in 2024 and particularly in 2025, you had a lot of slowish tracks with the ball not coming onto the bat as well. So maybe they kind of have a bit of insight, and that is why they have gone with players like Jason Holder or Arshad Khan, who kind of rely on the pitch a bit more, because in flatter conditions like we earlier used to see at Motera, I don't think these bowlers made any sense. You needed some crafty or skillful bowlers who know how to get out of an over. But something tells me that they're planning on sticking with those sticky surfaces, because they've stacked their squad with bowlers like those.
Yeah, I remember whenever Mumbai Indians, and obviously I'm the Joy Bhattacharya of the show, but for Mumbai. So whenever MI play at Ahmedabad, for some reason they always prepare a tacky pitch, and Gujarat always bat first and score somewhere around 180, and then it becomes impossible for MI to chase. So that's their strength. They've always done well batting first for some reason, and they like to pick early wickets at the power play. And with Siraj there, that's the best chance for him to do well. So I think it should be a similar approach this year as well. And I think they may play 8 home games, which could be an advantage for them.
Yeah, so a lot to be seen how they go. I think this is one of the more uncertain campaigns that we'll see this year, because this team can either continue the way they did last year and absolutely not surprise anyone and maybe make us look like fools who are sitting here criticizing them, or they could have at least 3 or 4 players having off seasons and completely being in doldrums, and yet it wouldn't surprise many, because looking at this team, it is very difficult to predict how they will go, but still we will make the effort to do that. So where do you think they will finish this season?
Unfortunately, I'm not really hopeful for Gujarat this time. I certainly don't think they'll finish last, because I think the bowling attack that they have is going to save them in a few games. But I think they lack a bit of batting strength, and if one of Gill, Sudarshan or Butler doesn't do well, then it's very tough. So I would say that they'll finish in P7.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much my assessment as well. They don't necessarily look like they will compete for the title this time around. And because Josh Butler is also in poor form, my only leeway that I would like to give them is that IPL is played on significantly better batting tracks. So there's a good chance that Sai Sudarshan and Butler walk in with low confidence, but in just a couple of games they pick up their confidence, and once they get that, they already have the skills to shine. So that is the only way they can succeed, but at the moment I'll put them at number 6.
I actually have a counter to your point. Yes, we know that in IPL nowadays batting and scoring big runs matters, but looking at the kind of batting lineup they have, do you think Gill, Sudarshan, and Butler will be able to freely score a lot of runs at the start, or will they be a bit more wary of not getting out early and putting pressure on the middle order? Because if they do that, then they can't really score freely, and they'll always end up scoring 10 or 15 runs less than what they could have.
Yeah, that is a valid point because they're after the top three, it's pretty slim. So I would like to see them because the batting is actually pretty deep. If you consider this 12, you've got Sai Kishore at number 9 who does bat, but none of them are complete batters. All of them are patchy. So I would think that maybe you don't need so many bowling options, and maybe Sundar and Sai Kishore don't fit into the same 12, or maybe Rahul Tewatia's time is up and they can replace him with another proper batter, maybe Kumar Kushagra, or uh, that or is a big question because they don't really have many, but maybe Kumar Kushagra, and that would kind of free up the top three as well if they know that there are at least three more proper batters to follow after them and not just all of them being floaters. So that can be a good one, and that is what makes me believe that Jason Holder will have a role to play later in this season.
Yeah, I agree with the Holder take. And I would actually, after this observation, like to revise my prediction. I think they're going to finish in P9 instead of P7.
P9, again, yeah, as we mentioned, this season could go anyways. If the top three come out in form and are striking really well, you might have a repeat of last year. Maybe not as good as last year, but at least they will be in the reckoning. But I think I'll stick with P6.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So, 3 teams done. The next one is my favorite, and I'm excited for that. So, we'll catch you in that video.
Yeah, until then, Avade.
स्टेडियम में शोर है एनर्जी ऑन द फ्लोर है दिस इज द अनफिल्टर्ड फीड